So to just confirm with that you're saying that the night that Michael Jackson died, the first thing he wanted to do was to go to Ben Troy's house
and drop his guitar. Yeah. And it was in the stand, like it was in its stand. And next thing it just falls over. I'm like, that's just not right. Like, so I don't know. Possibly, maybe I do have a paranormal experience of Michael Jackson with the King of Pop, like, you know.
Hello, folkers. I'm Cobra Kelly.
And I'm Jodie Lucas, and you're welcome to the Folkin Around podcast,
your favourite country music podcast. And Joe, tell the lovely listeners, who are we talking to this week?
So this week we caught up with the brilliantly talented Ben Troy. It was a great interview. Did you enjoy it?
I did, yeah. I didn't know him much beforehand and really got to know him on this interview, and hopefully the listeners as well. But what do we talk about, Joe?
So we covered, for somebody so young, he's been in the music biz for quite a while. We talked about him starting off with his dad, and then into the Wee Amigos, working with Declan Ryan, stuff in Nashville, and lots of exciting stories that I think a lot of people that even if they followed him for a long time will find something new out about him. So definitely a very interesting episode.
And I didn't realise he was part of the Wee Amigos. I kind of stumbled across them on YouTube, on a YouTube rabbit hole there a while ago, and it's like, oh, this nice little interesting act from days gone past, and here I was talking to one of them there. So that was fun. But yeah, it's a really good interview. Really hope you enjoyed it. And without further ado, as we say, we'll get to the interview. So we'll come back and talk to you after.
So we are joined by the wonderful Ben Troy. Ben, you're very welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Jodie, thank you very much for having me. Like we said before we recorded this, this is my first time doing like a podcast format, so I'm very excited to see how it goes.
Good. It's more of a casual, laid-back kind of conversation. It's not like a straight-up interview, so chill and talk about whatever you like, kind of thing.
So for anybody that is listening in on the audio or watching us through our YouTube channel that may not have met you before, Ben, why don't you give a brief background of you and who they're listening and watching?
Well, my name is Ben Troy. I've been touring and entertaining and singing since I was around 10 years old. So I've been doing it for quite a long time now, almost half my life. Well, it's more than half my life. But it's something I really enjoy doing. I love singing. I love meeting new people, and really, really itching to get back into that whole world once everything clears up, But I can't wait for that. And essentially, that's really who I am.
Brilliant. And sort of take us back, if we start from the beginning, I believe, was it your dad that sort of initially got you into the sort of the music? Is that right?
Yeah, well, whilst I was growing up and stuff, my father he'd always teach me new songs, and he taught me how to play the tin whistle, which I became an All-Ireland champion at. I think I was 8 years old.
Wow.
Seems like a lifetime ago now. Yeah. But myself and Daddy, we always used to go around, like old folks' homes and nursing homes, and I used to sing, and everyone thought I was lovely and all this kind of crack,
Give you sweets for your words originals.
Oh yeah, and the €2, just put in the pocket.
That's the good stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I could probably still do it doing it now, But so really, he really brought me into that world, and I haven't really left it since, and Daddy taught me everything he knows through music, and I'm very grateful to him.
And you did your first album around, was it about 13, 14?
The first album we done, I was 11.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the very first one. And then we obviously added to that. Initially, it was only meant to be like a 4-track, so just like an EP or something. And then over the course of 2 years, it evolved into a full album. Yeah. So.
I mean, how's that sort of 11 years old going into a recording studio, and like what's going through your head?
Totally new. Like, I remember it was in Blackrock, I think it was, in County Louth, just right beside Dundalk that we done it in. And my uncle was the sound engineer, like he was the musical engineer or whatever, So it was familiar whilst not being very familiar, if that makes sense,
Yeah. Just something so different.
Totally. Yeah. But again, the experience of that and the musicians coming in and playing and just... You can't buy that kind of knowledge, it's experience, but it was, really, really good.
It gave you the bug for entertainment at that early age, I'd say.
and it hasn't left.
Hasn't
You
left.
know, it really hasn't left. And what, you know, one of my favorite things to do, even to this day, is to record. Like, you know, to be creative, be expressive with how we record and stuff. And that's what I've missed most of all about this whole, you know, staying indoors and not being able to record and express myself through music.
That's the part of it I love as well. I'm a sound engineer myself. I have my own little home studio here, so I can kind of record myself the whole time. But as Jodie was saying, a lot of singers don't like the studio part of it. It's just the live part of it. They like, and they have to, oh, look, we have to go in and record this song now and whatever. But you like that side of it. Obviously, it's a big part of what you enjoy about it.
I prefer it. You know, I really do prefer it because, look, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love gigs. I love the energy. I love the adrenaline that you get whilst being on stage in front of however many people, whether it's 10 people or 10,000 people. I get the same buzz, like, you know. But recording is a wee bit different for me because I love the different opinions on things. Like, you know, so say I have an idea and then somebody that I'm working with says, well, no, we'll replace that with this and see how it works. And that whole process to me is just, I love it. I really love it.
And is it difficult? Because obviously you talk about different people's opinions and things like that. You obviously went into a band. Do we call the Wee Amigos a band? You know,
kind of, yeah.
Band. Obviously, there's the three amazing singers there. How did you start that? And you know, what was that journey like?
It's actually really difficult to recall now because everything happened so fast. From I was kind of like 12 to 15 or so. But I think I'm almost certain that it was like an award ceremony down in Limerick. I think it all started. And myself and the other two boys were collecting individual awards or something. And next thing, someone had a great idea to put us all up on the stage at the same time, like, you know. And I think the three amigos, Robert Mazzell, Patrick Feeney, and Jimmy Buckley, were there that night. And it just kind of became like a parody kind of thing, you know. But it stuck, you know. It's stuck. And, you know, it was great years, like, you know, great years. And I look back very fondly on them.
I didn't realize you're part of that now. How long did that go on for the Wee Amigos?
It's like 2 years, I think.
2 years.
18 months, 2 years, yeah.
Oh, you need to get on YouTube and watch those videos. There's some brilliant music videos for your singles.
Yeah, I've seen them actually. I didn't realize you were part of it. So that's news to me. As we learn things as we chat. It's good.
Yeah, no, that seems like forever ago, like, you know. But yeah, no, like I said, great memories, and look back very fondly on them.
Yeah. And you're probably, correct me if I'm wrong, probably your most successful album would be the Gravity album, which obviously was that in the middle of you being on tour with Derek?
Yeah, well, we started touring with Derek in, I think, February or March 2017. And, you know, I'm on about looking back on the Wee Amigos years with great fondness. Them years are even, you know, even better. Like, you know, geez, I'll never forget them. Like, but in the middle of all, you know, touring with Derek and doing all the big shows, like thousands of people every week and stuff like that, we recorded an album in Nashville, which was a dream come true for me. Because look, obviously Irish country music is great and I like it and all, but American country music, like the real hardcore stuff, is what I grew up on. And to go to Nashville and to go to, you know, Music Row and Soundstage Studios where Garth Brooks recorded, where George Strait recorded, George Jones, all my heroes, like, you know, it was just an out-of-body experience for a long time. And, you know, the album is probably been I'm probably most proud of that, my proudest achievement, shall I say, of anything that I've done.
This is actually a recurrent theme. I find a lot of I suppose the singers that we're talking to, especially like the younger generation singers, they're all into the American country, like myself as well. I'm into Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, all that stuff as well. And so I think American country might make a bit of a comeback in Ireland in the next few years, hopefully. By going
Seems to be the younger ones like it a lot. Going
by what we've seen in the last few weeks, talking to different people. But I was listening.
You know, I know my own experience. Look, like I said, I was brought up on American country music. Like, my father loved Glenn Campbell and the likes of Johnny Cash and stuff like that. Now, to be honest, that would always be my preference, to listen to Johnny Cash and stuff like that. And to be, like, I've visited his grave whilst I was over there. I met his son, I met his sister, all that kind of stuff, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But great experiences. And, yeah, like I said, that would always be my preference rather than the Irish stuff. But don't get me wrong, the Irish stuff is still great too.
Oh yeah, of course.
And how did they take to you over there and sort of going in, you know, this wee Irish boy going into a studio and, you know, tackling some big songs, as well as obviously you had original songs on there, but you had some really big country classics on there too.
Oh, for sure. And whatever about being in a studio here in Ireland, like you know, the familiarity with, you know, my uncle being the producer and my mother and father always around the recording process and stuff. Going over to Nashville was a totally different kettle of fish. You know, you're in a studio with Grammy-winning, you know, music producers and musicians, and like just a world of knowledge is put on you so quickly, and you're just like a sponge. You just take everything in. And God, I need to do another album in Nashville.
Was it not overwhelming though?
I wouldn't say overwhelming. I for one, like I don't think I've ever been nervous in my life and stuff like that. But going into that, yeah, you always have it in the back of your head. What if they don't like my voice? Or what if, you know, I play a wrong chord on the guitar or something like that, you know? But totally amazing. Like anybody who, you know, either has the money or the ambition to do it, definitely do it, because like I said, it is my proudest achievement.
While you were in Nashville, did you get a chance to go anywhere near the Grand Ole Opry or anywhere like that?
The first time I went to Nashville, I actually sang on the Grand Ole Opry.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. It was it 2016? I've a bit of a story like this, you know. It might take a couple of minutes to tell. That's, but
no worries. We have plenty time.
When we went over first in 2016, so I would have been what? 2015, sorry, so I was 18, about to turn 18. I was going over with the Keeper Country crew, you know, Spotlight TV and stuff.
Yeah.
We went downtown because the George Jones Museum was only after recently opening, I think the weekend before we were there. And we went downtown to interview Nancy Jones, which is George Jones's wife, obviously. And done the interview, and I thought I was class. You know, I was wearing my Johnny Cash t-shirt and stuff like that, and I'm in the home of country music. I was loving life. And after the interview, Nancy says, or whoever was interviewing her, I forget now, I think it was Lisa Stanley. Yeah, it was Lisa Stanley that was interviewing her. And she says, "Oh, this young fella sings." And Nancy turns to me and says, "Do you sing any Cash?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I do. I love Johnny Cash." And she goes, "Do you sing any Jones?" And I said, "Oh, absolutely." And she said, "Would you like to sing some Jones for me?" And I was like, "Yeah, definitely."
No pressure.
It's a tall order.
Yeah, yeah. So she brought us up to the rooftop bar in Nashville. Massive museum. I think there's like four stories to it. And we went up, and there was a band there. And because I was obviously under 21, all the barmaids ran over and said, "No, he can't be here. He can't be here." And Nancy was like, "No, go away." And
this boy can sing. Leave him alone.
And she sat us down right beside the band, and there was maybe 300 or 400 people in the bar, like, you know, it was jammed. And she said to the singer, "Look, get this lad up and sing." And we started. I think we done like Folsom Prison Blues or something.
Yeah.
Something along that. It was definitely a Johnny Cash song first, and then I sang "The Race Is On," George Jones classic.
Nice, yeah.
And then she asked me if I knew He Stopped Loving Her Today.
Oh yeah.
And I said I was a wee bit wary of the song because I wouldn't have known it as much as the other two songs.
Yeah.
But I tried it anyway, and you know, she recorded it on her phone, and she was right beside me with the phone up really into my face and stuff. And we were due to go to the Grand Ole Opry the next night, just in the audience, like, you know. And we arrived there, and then I got a text from a guy called Wayne Chandler, or Phil Mackey got a text from a guy called Wayne Chandler, said, "Would you like to come backstage, blah, blah, blah." "Yeah, no problem, happy days." And they basically said to me, "Look, you have 5 minutes, sing what you can." And I was like, "What? Seriously?"
Wow.
And I sang "He Stopped Loving Her Today," and yeah, it was really so special, so special. And it was funny because that night there was the likes of Trace Adkins there. There was there was loads of big high profile acts.
Yeah.
But we went back the night after. No, it was 2 nights after. And who was on the Grand Ole Opry? Only Gareth Brooks. I was like, oh Jesus, why couldn't I was like, Jesus, why couldn't I 2 days later? But again, so special, and I'm not going to forget that anytime soon.
You didn't pull a Johnny Cash and start kicking all the lights on the stage and stuff. No, you didn't.
No,
go
no.
That far.
I was going to do the Gareth Brooks and smash the guitar on the on the drum set and all.
Oh, I mean that takes some beating, that sort of memory, and obviously it was a different time you went to Nashville, obviously, to do the album, and we have had a lot of questions in about the album, but mainly it was around how the songs were chosen for you for the album. Obviously, it was Derek, I think, that wrote, is it 4 songs on the album?
4 or 5, yeah.
Yeah. So how did that come about? What's that process of, does he bring you up and go, I've got this song, or are you part of it?
Well, we were all really part of it. Like, there was maybe 3 or 4 involved in the process, whether it was the producer over here or the producer over there, and myself and Derek, obviously. But he, like everyone knows, Derek is a phenomenal songwriter, and he had songs that he wrote 10 years ago and stuff that he said, look, I think this really suits you. And if I liked it, we'd say, yeah, let's see how it goes. And if I didn't, I'd say, let's see if we can find another one. And
how'd you say no to Derek Ryan? Like, you just go, nah, that's not good enough, Derek. Try again.
Well, maybe not good enough, but definitely, some songs would suit me, and some, it's like any other singer, like, if I wrote him a song, like, he would definitely say, Ben, that's, I'm not going to do that, like,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we rattled down to 4 original songs, and I loved them, like, whilst I was touring with him, like, the knowledge that he has and the knowledge he gave me about songwriting and stuff like that, and little tricks to do, like, he could send me Baa Baa Black Sheep with a verse, and I'd be like, that's unreal, like, so he wasn't told no very often, like,
No.
But we settled on 4 songs, and we were like, right, that's great, and we named the album Gravity, obviously. Then the rest of the songs were kind of mine. They were kind of my picks. Well, 80% of them were, because, like I said, I'm a real country boy. I love the likes of Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, He Stopped Loving Her Today, all them kind of things. And if there was ever an album going to be recorded in Nashville by me, them songs had to be involved. Like,
very cool. Because I listened to it as well, and the sound production is slick. It's you could tell. You could tell there's some experts behind it. It's very, very good. It'll be hard to top now if you want to be recording in Ireland. It's going to be hard to top that sound, I'd say.
Yeah, well, possibly now. But like, even when we were all sitting down, I think it was Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain that we were recording, them boys could literally do that with their eyes closed. It was just so flawless and totally effortless. I was just in total awe. And then little old me has to rock up to a microphone and start singing, and I'm like, oh God, what am I doing?
You get the real kind of imposter syndrome, I said. Yeah, like, what am I doing here?
Yeah, well, I get that at the best of times anyway, but yeah, no, totally. Like, do I belong here and stuff like that, but yeah, like you say, the production value on that was nothing got to do with me, but absolutely blew me away.
And you're a multi-instrumentalist as well, I hear. Do you play a guitar? Do you play anything else as well?
I played the guitar, I played the piano, I played the bass, a little bit of the mandolin, tin whistle. There's a few.
Fair play. It's good to have your fingers in a few pies that way. To have that. What would you say? Words escape me. Have the possibilities of making all this different music on different instruments. It's a good thing to have.
No, totally, because I love the process. I love the learning process. I've been playing the guitar for 14 years now, and the fire that you would have had back then, it dims. Obviously, the whole process of learning a song isn't. It becomes a lot easier once you've been playing it so long. Yeah. So that's why, like, funny enough, I actually ordered a saxophone like last week.
Oh yeah, nice.
Wow. So I'm going to sit down and learn the saxophone. Now, it might take me a year or whatever to learn it properly, probably more. But I play a lot, but I'm the master of none. Like,
you'll have to do Careless Whisper, the Wham song. You'd have to learn that.
Careless Whisper, Baker Street. That's the only reason. That's the only reason why I bought it.
Wow. And obviously you've toured all over, it seems. what's it like touring and sort of being away from home, being so young and being away from home, and sort of, I guess, growing up on the road, isn't it?
Yeah, well, especially during the Derek Ryan years and stuff, where you'd be on tour for 2 weeks. You'd be literally leaving on a Wednesday morning and not coming back for 2 weeks. Like, that you grow up very quickly when you do that. But again, that whole experience of touring with 12 or 13 people, learning everybody's ego, because everybody has an ego on the road. Everybody learn what might annoy somebody, or what might get a laugh out of somebody. It's all part of that process, and phenomenal. Absolutely. Like, I know I'm saying these words so often, like, but genuinely, I would love to do all that kind of stuff again. And when all this crack is finished with the Rona and stuff, we have to get back to doing it, because I miss it so much.
How are you taken by all the Derek fans? Because Derek fans are quite hardcore. Some of them are, they Derek through and through. How was it sort of stepping out in front of so many people?
It was great. But again, it seems so long ago now. But especially like the fans over in, I hate using that word fans, like, but like the people over in England and stuff, in Scotland, like, they were just going crazy for him, like, And I remember Sean Corr, who's Derek's road manager. I became very friendly with Sean. He collected me some, I think it was Newry or something, and we were going down to, I think it was Clare. So he picked me up in the van and stuff, like, with the big Derek Ryan writing on the side. And I think we were going through some wee town in Roscommon or Westmeath or somewhere, and people were there taking pictures with the van and stuff, like, driving past. And a lot I seen on Twitter later on, and there was just little old me looking out the window, like, it was funny. But people love him.
They'd be like, "Get out of the shot, will you? Get your head down."
I think I last saw you, I think you were over here in Market Drayton, I think it was. And I always remember that you had more people crowding around you after the gig. There was a lot of the old biddies. Don't mean to offend anyone by saying that, but all the old biddies were crowding around you. And I remember Derek was just sort of stood there watching you, just getting all that attention from like that little sweet blue-eyed boy.
Oh, Jesus. I'm sure they all went to him first, though. That's the thing.
I'm not sure. I know my mum's got a very good picture with you, actually, and she treasured it. She was very excited that you were coming on. So say hi, Mum.
Oh, definitely say hello to her. But Jesus, but like I said, touring and the whole aspect of it, rocking up to a gig 4 hours before it starts, and my like, you're gonna laugh. My favorite thing about live shows and gigging and stuff like that is the sound check. Yeah. Funnily enough, that's my favorite thing, because there is no, like, there's no rules. Like, you could literally, like, my sound check song during them tours and stuff was "In the Air Tonight" with Phil Collins. Like,
nice.
No sign of country at all. Like, and it was just with a fantastic band and stuff like that. It was just, that'd be my favorite aspect of it, like the sound check. But obviously when the people come in, the adrenaline starts to rush then.
Yeah. And say, for instance, you mentioned you were doing a different song in sound check than country, but is there any, I suppose, if you were to record a song and you didn't have to do country, and you want any genre that you would like, just for fun, just for yourself, let's say, what kind of song would you do?
Well, I'm a big rock head, like, like, genuinely, I've grown up with the likes of Bon Jovi, the Eagles, Guns N' Roses, Metallica. Well, maybe not so Metallica, like, but Whitesnake and
Metallica's Copper's favourite band. He's had me listening to Metallica this week. He's a real metalhead.
Yeah, but I love all that kind of stuff. I went to see Metallica in Slane 2 years ago.
2 years ago, I was there as well.
Yeah,
we could have bumped into each other. You never knew.
Like, I just there was that many people there. Like, I don't know.
80,000 people or something.
Well, here, Ben, you can back Copper up maybe with this. Copper's only been to one of the social dances. I think you went to see Stuart Moyles, wasn't
That's
it?
Right. Yeah.
And he said he felt safer in a Metallica mosh pit than on the dance floor of people jiving. Would you agree?
Well, I'm not much of a dancer now myself, so I can't say anything about jiving and stuff, like. But I have seen absolute mayhem on the dance floor. All right, yeah.
Yeah, they're hardcore with it. If you're going the wrong direction or anything like that, you do get elbowed and kicked out the way.
Yeah. Well, but the mosh pit, you know, and stuff like the Metallica concerts, like that would be a totally different animal altogether. Like, you know, when I went to Guns N' Roses the year before, or the year after. Years are rolling into one. I don't know.
Yeah.
But people they were jumping on top of each other, like, you know, like especially down around the front, people climbing over each other to get, because I don't think Axl Rose was. No, it wasn't. It was your man from. Axl Rose wasn't part of Guns N' Roses at that stage. He wasn't on that concert, I don't think. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Oh, I don't know.
You thinking you went to see Slash maybe, and you had a different singer, Miles Kennedy singing?
Maybe no. This is what it was. I went to see AC/DC 3 or 4 years ago, and Axl Rose was the lead singer of AC/DC at that stage. Yeah.
That would have been cool.
So you don't get people climbing over to get to you then, Ben, when you're on stage?
No, definitely not. No. But going back to the original question, if I was to record any kind of song, well, it's difficult to say. Like, you know, like I said, I am a rockhead. I do even modern pop music, like, you know.
Your most recent single's quite poppy, isn't it? I know it's originally a country song, but it's got more of a pop feel.
Yeah, well, that genuinely is the direction that we're going to go from now. You know, just to, you know, to visit different avenues and stuff. You know, I've always, like I said, rockhead, love modern rock, classic rock. You know, the Eagles are my favorite band of all time. You know, I adore them. But even going forward into the modern pop world and stuff, there's some great music out there, and I'm just kind of exploring how my voice would fit in more modern music, whilst also having a slight foot in the country. You know what I mean?
Would you have that rock voice? Would you be able to get it belted out?
Well, one of the songs we do in our set, well, used to, there's no sets anymore, but was Run to You by Bryan Adams.
Oh yeah.
And obviously Bryan Adams has a phenomenal voice, like, and I'm not 10% of the singer that Bryan Adams is, but I loved singing that, and, you know, to get that little bit of a raspy voice that sometimes I didn't even know that I had, you know. It's totally different. That would be my kind of music, you know.
Cool.
And we've had an insane amount of fan questions. I know you don't like that word. Literally, the inbox was blowing up when we, you know, said that you were coming on to the podcast. So big thanks to everybody that sent in your questions for Ben. I'm sorry if we don't get through them all, but I've picked the clean one, shall we say, because there was a lot of dodgy questions, as we spoke about the other day, Ben. But first up, Geraldine Shields, who first of all says that she really misses you at the Old Coach Inn, I think, that you used to do gigs at. So she really misses you there. But she's asked, what's been your favourite gig that you've ever performed at? It's going to be the Grand Ole Opry now, I imagine.
Yeah, well, that actually kind of evaded me there for a second. Yeah, that's definitely up there. But, you know, I reckon the country-to-country gig that we'd done, that we'd done 3 years ago. There's another story behind that, but maybe that's for another day, like, you know. But
I know you can throw it in.
Well, Louis Walsh had come to see us that night, and when you're talking about adrenaline and stuff, like, I was like, this is it, like, you know, this Louis Walsh, like, we have to impress him. That was probably the best gig I've ever done. Thousands and thousands of people there, unbelievable. I would, that's probably number one spot. Maybe the Grand Ole Opry number two, like, you know. But just what was on the line, the sheer adrenaline of it. Yeah, I think that's top spot.
And did Louis like it?
He did. Yeah. There's a story that I could literally tell for like a half an hour or so, but shortened down, myself and my father done a spot on Nationwide here in Ireland on RTE, and Louis had seen it, and he had contacted a guy called Eddie Rowley, who is he's an editor for the Sunday World newspaper. Yeah. And Eddie is an absolute gentleman. He's such a lovely man. And he rang me up and he said, Ben, look, well done on the Nationwide thing. Louis Walsh wants your number. Will I pass it on? And I was like,
Let me think about that.
But I actually thought I was being like messed around with, like, and I was like, seriously? And he was like, yeah, no, he wants your number. He's going to give you a call. He's seen you on Nationwide and he wants to talk to you. And I was like, yeah. Why are you still talking? We give it to him. And he never called. Like, he never called. And this was in January, and the country was in March. I've kind of ruined the story, but you know what I mean. But he never called. And I always had it in the back of my head, probably wishful thinking, that he was going to come to the Three Arena that night, because he lived in Dublin and it was only around the corner from him. And I was telling my mother and father, he's coming. Like, I'm telling you, he's coming. And
just for you, that was it.
Yeah, but the boys in the band, then they were like, "Oh no, yeah, no, not believing me at all." Like obviously they knew that Eddie wouldn't mess us around and stuff like that. But I think we were the last on before the big act. I think it was Casey Musgraves that was on that night, and I was really looking forward to seeing Casey, because I would happily marry that woman. Like, I think she's beautiful. But our slot was at like 9:05 to like 9:30. Louis literally strolled in 9:00, came into the green room, and I was like, oh, I told you. I was going to curse there, but I better not. I told you. And then we done the gig. He came down. I got a picture with him and stuff. And he said, "What time are you starting at?" And I said, "Well, we're actually running a wee bit late now." And he said, "Oh no, I'll come down. And he stood beside the stage, watched the whole gig. And as soon as we finished, and it was very funny, because after, you'd have a few people coming up wanting to take a picture or say hello or whatever, he actually queued up. And
to see
everyone was around him, and I was like, what? Yeah, like literally. And he joined the queue, and like, there wasn't loads of people there. There might have been 15 or 20 people. But he stood in the queue, and everyone was taking pictures with him and all that kind of crack. And then he came to the front of the queue, and I was like, hello.
Like, hello, I'm Louis Walsh.
Yeah, can I take a picture with you? That's how I. And he said, whenever you're finished, come back up to the green room and we'll have a drink and we'll talk. And I finished taking pictures with everybody, and I missed the Casey Musgraves concert, but I didn't really care, to be honest. And
Sorry,
we just sat down. We sat down from maybe 9:45, and we didn't leave until like 2:00. Like, there was 12, 15 people in the room, like, just all listening to stories. And there was a slot open for somebody to support Shania Twain when she came to the Three Arena. I think it was that September.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Look, leave it with me. And my name was brought up in the meetings for Shania or whatever. And obviously it didn't happen, because that definitely would be number one. That'd be the best gig I've ever done. Like, but that's the brief story behind Louis Walsh. And so that'd be why that one night would be my favorite gig.
And Louis, if you're listening now, give him a call. He's still waiting for that call.
Oh no, he's rang me since.
Okay. All right.
Since, don't worry.
He's quite a big country fan, actually, isn't he? Because I know when he did like Ireland's Got Talent and things, he really looked after Christopher King, who was one of the Golden Buzzers on there, obviously going on as a country singer. And I know he's done a lot for him as well. So he is actually a really big country fan. Whereas obviously, he'd normally do pop.
Well, that night that we met him, he was saying that he was saying that he was booking gigs years and years ago for country bands and stuff. And obviously he had a history with Michael English as well. He managed him for years and years. So he's a big country fan, and he was saying, "Look, I love the likes of Glenn Campbell and stuff like that." And we just clicked like that, and the conversation was off then, really nice fella, really nice guy.
And we've also got a question in. The same question came from Anne Cannon and Jill Cosby. So hi, Anne and Jill. They want to know, obviously we're in lockdown at the moment, but what are your future plans for touring?
It's so up in the air at the minute that, you probably find it hard for anybody to answer that question. Over in the UK and stuff, things seem to be, the they have light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
But here, look, I'm not going to get into politics and stuff like that, but they just wouldn't be as competent as the British government, like, you know. But hopefully we'll have gigs in the UK this year. I wouldn't imagine there'll be any in Ireland this year. But who knows? But let me guarantee you, once everything opens up again,
it'll be crazy.
Just say yes to every gig.
Yeah, I'm never going to take anything for granted ever again. If someone wants me to play at a child's birthday party, yes. That's all I'm saying. Never say no ever again.
There you go. Get the bookings in now for the birthdays.
Yeah.
Or even
and
if
I
someone
can tie
says
balloons as well, so it's all good.
Yeah. Even if someone says you just come down to the pub for a pint, and absolutely, go.
I'm definitely not going to say no to that ever again either. Definitely not.
But no, you should definitely get on. There's so many gigs over here. It's kind of insane. The day that we're recording this, actually, obviously, it's not going to go out for a couple of weeks, but we actually open back up tomorrow. So it's so exciting. Like, it feels like it's Christmas Eve that we open back up tomorrow. And I think the first gig's in about 5 weeks, which is insane. Probably when this goes out.
Do the pubs open up there, do they?
So we're opening the beer gardens tomorrow. I'm doing it myself. We're doing beer gardens are open from tomorrow, and then the 12th of April, the pubs and everything are open. And I think live gigs start in May.
And is that the same with Northern Ireland, is it? Because I'm totally clueless on this subject.
No, I don't believe so. I know Scotland's opening before England. So I think Scotland might be open already. And I know Wales is open because I think like Gary Gamble has got a whole load of a tour starting in a couple of weeks in Scotland. But I think Northern Ireland opens up about June time, something like that. Somebody will correct me in the comments of this now and tell me I've got that all wrong.
Yeah. Oh, well, look, you definitely know a lot more than I do.
Only over here because I'm literally booked for every gig, which is really, really cool. But yeah, you should come over here. We've got festivals all summer, and I think that's what people are focusing on now because they're outdoors. I think you can get away with more, can't you, at a festival?
Yeah, I think so. But even looking at New Zealand and Australia and stuff like that, they're having festivals of 100,000 people and stuff. Like, I am so jealous. Like, I love Keith Urban. I think he's probably one of my favorite country acts, and he's after doing something like 30 nights just in his own little corner of Australia or something like that. It's crazy. And I follow him on Instagram, and obviously, like, he every night different crowds, and I'm like, I'm so jealous. Like, so
Can you
jealous.
not get a pass to travel for work? Get booked on.
I'd be lying if I said that I didn't look it up, to see what would happen. Like, but it was crazy money to go over there, like, and then to quarantine for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something like that. Like, I'd be driven crazy in a hotel room, to be honest.
Yeah, no, you'll have to come over here. That's I think that's what everyone's doing. I think Nathan Carter's just done a whole UK tour. It would have been announced by the time this comes out, but yeah, he's just everything. As you say, nothing's happening in Ireland this year, sadly.
Yeah, nothing. Like, I'd be very surprised if the restaurants, well, possibly in the height of summer and stuff when the cases go down, but with the vaccines and stuff, I can't see anything happening here unless everyone gets vaccinated.
It'll probably be like last summer where things kind of did slightly open up again and we're able to go out and have a dinner and have a pint or whatever. But then, Christmas time came and it hit the fan again. That's to say.
Christmas time came and then it was 10,000 cases a day. I'm like, oh, Jesus, we're going to be here forever.
Yeah, I think I managed to sneak over in September, I think it was, and managed to go to, I think Robert Mazzell and Jerry Guthrie were doing a couple of things. I managed to sneak into those, but people weren't happy that I went, like anybody listening, I went completely correctly and did everything that I had to do to travel. But it's been a long time since I've been over. It's quite sad.
Yeah. I actually got a booking for July in Nottingham.
Okay.
And I'm praying to God that it goes ahead, like, But
what's it for in Nottingham? Is it a?
It's a film act show. It's a film act weekend that I've done since I was 14, and just love doing them. Absolutely love doing them. And like I said, I'm praying that it goes ahead because it's been, was it last week that it's been 1 year since I've done a gig.
Yeah.
So, and for somebody that has been doing it since they were 10, 11, like, totally new, and I didn't finish school either, so job opportunities, you know,
Right, yeah.
fairly slim. But thankfully, look, I have a job on the go now. So without that, I'm very grateful to have it. But you know, definitely want to get back at gigs.
Do you worry you won't remember what to do when you get out on the stage again?
I'm worried I'll be doing too much.
Just all that built up.
I worry I'll go the other way. Yeah.
Be like
you
a
know,
rock
Ben, you
star.
only have a half an hour.
You'd be if you Uber rock star up on, instead of taking it easy.
I told you I'll be crowd surfing and everything.
Surfing and moshing.
So I'm going to do one more.
I can't wait.
I'm going to do one more fan question. Leslie Adamson has said she saw you many a time, obviously with Derek, and during that you did a lot of duets with Derek. But who would be your dream duet to do a song with?
Within like a country bracket or just anybody?
Do both. Do country and just anybody.
Country, definitely Vince Gill.
Yeah, amazing.
1000%. I've met him on a couple of occasions, and I've never been starstruck. When I seen Vince Gill, I couldn't speak. I literally couldn't talk. He stuck the thumbs up at me, and I was like, oh. I was like, this is unreal. Like, and then he brought us in. That was the same night at the Grand Ole Opry. He was there that night too, and he brought us into his dressing room. So you sung in front of
Vince Gill?
Well, he may or may not have heard me. I can't. I
just go with it. Just say yes. I sung in front of Vince Gill. He was clapping away.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's definitely Vince Gill. But yeah, no, he's definitely within the country bracket. Yeah. Then, I suppose like you could probably make a case for Don Henley. Like, you know, like the Eagles definitely have a country twang about them, especially their early stuff.
Yeah. You
could definitely, I would say Don Henley. Or more modern wise, I'd say John Mayer.
John Mayer, yeah.
Yeah, John Mayer I love him. I absolutely love him.
Yeah.
He's very
he's just so,
as well.
So slick. He's so cool. Like, you know, he is one of the coolest MFs living right now.
Yeah.
I love him.
So at this point of the podcast, we hand over to Copper, and we have Copper's Corner, which always sounds like he's going to read us a little story or something, doesn't it? I still think I'm going to get you a pipe just to sit there and just be very inviting.
Never think about that. I must get a pipe, yeah. Just, But so this is Copper's Corner. I just ask a few kind of random questions. I don't know if you've listened to it before or anything like that, but basically, the first question I generally ask is, what was the first CD that you ever bought?
Oh, you're gonna laugh. Oh, this is so embarrassing. The first CD I ever bought myself with my own money was actually Jedward.
Oh yeah!
Wow.
Yeah, that's so embarrassing.
But
it was actually because my sister, because my sister loved them, and she loved them on the X Factor and stuff like that. So I was kind of like, well, let's give this a listen, like, you know. And I seen a lot of like covers of Blink-182 and stuff like that, like all the small things and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, right, let's looking at the back of it. It was an Extravision or one of them, Blockbuster. I don't know, maybe I'm too young for Blockbuster now, but and it was like Extravision, and then I was reading like the CD stuff on the back, and I was like, I know that song. Right, I'm just gonna buy it. And yeah, Jedward. Yeah. Jesus, yeah.
Have you managed to meet them?
No, definitely not.
I actually walked past them on the street in Dublin one time. I was just crossing the road, and these two fellas in hoods. They were like keeping low profile, but I seen these two faces look very similar. It's like, oh, all right, lads. I walked past them, it's just as you go. But didn't they shave off their quiffs for charity?
Yeah, they did recently. It for cancer this week, didn't they?
Yeah, fair play to them.
I think I seen that on TikTok or something. Yeah.
They raised, I think somebody said they raised something like 4.5 million for shaving them off.
Jesus,
that's good going.
We have to do that with you, Copper. Shave your head full.
Yeah,
I've done it for free. I've done it for nothing.
The whole of lockdown.
Yeah.
But my next question: if we're out having a few pints and went into a karaoke bar, let's say, and we handed you the microphone, and Ben sings a song, what would be the first song you sing?
Well, my karaoke song was "Fly Me to the Moon" by Frank Sinatra.
Nice.
Wow.
Okay. Oh, Blue Eyes.
Yeah.
Well,
it's I think I went to Magaluf one time with a couple of friends, like, and there was was a karaoke bar there, and the bar was jammed, like honestly wedged. And obviously I went up and because I was probably had too many drinks, like, you know, because otherwise I wouldn't even want to, like, especially on a night out and stuff. Somebody asked me to sing, I'm like, oh please, no, like, you know. But I got up, Annie, and I sang like I always do, Fly Me to the Moon. And someone came over to me and said, you can't do that. You can't sing on karaoke. You're good. And I'm like, is that not the point? No.
Only if you're bad, can you ask BS?
Yeah, but that's my song there. And if there was another one, it'd probably be still Frank Sinatra, probably be my Way.
Is there any video footage of these recordings?
I don't think so.
We could have inserted it there. That would have been really good.
It would definitely want to be deleted straight away, because I can guarantee you, if I am singing on karaoke, I am drunk. So
might be a bit rough. That's fair enough. And actually,
a little bit.
Yeah. I'm going to start asking this question to guitarists now, because, you know, you play guitar. But what was the first guitar that you ever, what was the first song you ever learned on guitar?
People are going to say, what kind of music does this fella listen to? Like going from Vince Gill to, you know, to this. But the first song I ever learned was "Every Rose Has Its Thorn" by Poison.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
And glam rock. It was just a YouTube tutorial, and it was just like the drop C into the D or into the G, and it's just like it sounds more difficult than it really is. Yeah. Just like anything on the guitar, like it sounds a lot more difficult than it is. But yeah, that would have been the first one, and then after that, sure, I really haven't a clue.
Yeah. That's
everyone's answer seems to be Country Roads, doesn't it? Everyone says that they first learned Country Roads on the guitar. That seems to be a standard answer.
Yeah, possibly. That
I learned Twinkle Twinkle on the guitar. That was the first thing I ever learned.
Do you know what? Joe, you're going to love this now. My first one I ever learned was Love Me Tender by Elvis.
Oh,
Elvis Presley.
I like that.
Yeah. That was back when I was 11 or something like that. Long time ago. Same as yourself.
Before Ben was even born.
It's a very intricate song there with a lot of minors.
Yeah, exactly. So started off well, I suppose. But what was the last gig that you went to that you actually bought a ticket to and went to see?
I went to see John Mayer in Dublin in October before the lockdown.
Yeah.
I went to see the Eagles in the July as well. So them two gigs alone made my year, you know. And before I went to John Mayer, I liked some of his songs.
Yeah.
Always thought he was a phenomenal musician, as he is. Phenomenal songwriter, just a phenomenal, you know. And he is such a big ego, but he uses it so well. Like, you know, he has that kind of sociopathic kind of, you know, narcissistic thing that just clicks, like, you know, and he uses it. But once I came back from that gig, like I literally went to that gig wanting to hear Gravity, Neon, Slow Dancing in the Burning Room. And then once I came back from that gig, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to listen to this lad for 6 months. Like, and so I did.
So I know Slow Dancing in the Burning Room. I learned that on guitar one time to play with a mate of mine. It's really, he's such a good guitarist. Like whatever about singing, but the guitar work it's monumentous. It's very
phenomenal.
Good. Yeah,
absolutely phenomenal. And his melodies and stuff, because, you know, you could be playing in a certain key or whatever, and he'd just go into some wacky, and he'd be kind of half playing in a different key whilst, you know, always keeping a few notes. Like it was just, especially that gig, and the band were phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like whatever about him, the band were amazing, totally amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just adore that man so much.
That's it. And tell me, outside of music, obviously you're a musician, so music kind of consumes a lot of your time, as it does myself as well. But what kind of passions would you have outside of music? What kind of hobbies or interests would you have?
Well, I am a huge Man United fan. Don't hold that against me. But, you know, absolutely massive United fan. Not doing too well at the minute. Well, we're doing okay, I suppose. Better than recent seasons. But yeah, like it's literally music, Man United, everything else. you know.
Yeah.
And your dog's in there somewhere.
Oh yeah, well that's family and stuff as well. Yeah, but yeah, my two dogs and driving me crazy at the minute. Like, but because my wee dog Daisy, she's in heat,
right,
and my other dog, he's going absolutely buck wild to get at her, and he's not going near her, like, you know. He's driving everybody in the house crazy. Like, I never slept one wink last night because he was up howling the whole night.
Oh.
I'm like, oh God.
And which one was it that's in your video, your duet?
That's Daisy. That's Daisy, yeah.
Oh.
That's my little princess there, like.
Very, very cute. I know I put that up on my Facebook and it was very, very popular with people. I think it was the most shares that I've had of any video, I think.
Oh, Jesus.
And another question I'd like to ask as well, if you're having a dinner party and you could invite 3 people, alive or dead, any time in history, who would you pick and why?
That's a very good question. Johnny Cash is definitely on there. Definitely.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't have to be music, no?
No, anyone at all.
Ooh, that makes it a whole lot more difficult. Probably Sir Alex Ferguson.
Okay.
Either him or David Beckham.
Right.
Him or David Beckham.
Yeah.
And then the third one would probably be Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. Okay.
I would say, yeah. It would just be either Michael Jackson or Freddie Mercury. So there's a lot of one or the other. But I think they'd be very, very interesting conversations. Probably more so with Freddie Mercury because he was just a lunatic. But
I noticed myself and Copper never get any sort of invites to these things.
No, well, if it was 4 and 5, you know, like, you know, maybe so then.
Or maybe we don't need an invite. We'll just knock at the door.
Genius, like. Yeah. Totally.
And if you had I suppose, what are your desert island discs? So if you're marooned on an island, you had 3 CDs to pick that you could listen to again and again without getting sick of until you got rescued, let's say. What 3 CDs or albums would you pick?
I think there a while ago, and probably during the first lockdown, there was this kind of trend on Facebook and Instagram where there was some app that put your favorite albums beside the picture of Bill Clinton, who had headphones on and stuff. And I think when I done that, it was Where the Light Is, the live album by John Mayer, the Eagles' greatest hits, and I think it was Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits. So yeah, they'd be my 3. But out of curiosity, what would be your favorite 3?
You want to go jokes? I think about it for a second.
So I think mine would be, obviously there would be Elvis in there, as he would be my number 1. Probably his Hawaii album would probably be, like his live in Hawaii album would be that one. It sort of goes if I'm on a desert island. Oh God, nobody asks us this question. Really hard actually when you put on the spot. I always think, why do people think this is so hard? See now.
Well, I can answer what you think, I suppose. I've an answer too.
We'll do it half and half, I think.
I have Sturgill Simpson, Sound and Fury. It's I actually recommended as an album the week a few weeks ago, but Jodie didn't really like it. But it's this kind of album. It's like, do you ever hear of Sturgill Simpson? He's an American country singer. He's yeah. And Post Malone actually just put out a cover of one of his songs on YouTube, and he
literally took the words out of my mouth there, and he done a Brad Paisley song as well, and I've been like, why does something so far apart suit so well, like, you know, and unbelievable.
And Post Malone, you wouldn't think, but he's a metalhead as well. So he's a metalhead, then he became a country singer, then he became hip hop, I suppose you could call him, and now he's going back to country. He's a very very talented dude. I tell you that.
He's like a rapper as well, isn't he?
A rapper, that's it. But yeah, Sturgill Simpson, and then a Johnny Cash album. I suppose I'd have to pick maybe Greatest Hits to kind of cover them all. I guess it's probably a cheap out, but you know, whatever. But I think then last one probably like a metal album, like something like Devin Townsend or something like this, is really like transcendence. But a lot of people would never have heard of it, and I understand that. That's cool. But so
I noticed there was no Ben Troy on there, Copper.
Ben Troy,
no. Well, that's going from one extreme to the other, like, you know.
I think my other 2 would have to be, I was going to say Waylon Jennings, but I don't think he's quite made the cut. So I think I'll go for Dolly, like a greatest hits of Dolly, because why not? And then I would pick something really cheesy that like if I was by myself I'd want to dance. So it would probably be like ABBA, or it'd be like a compilation of all the Eurovision Song Contest winners, because I love Eurovision and that cheesiness.
I'll turn it back on her now. Where's Ben Troy's album, Joe?
I was definitely going to get behind the ABBA there,
but
I was definitely going to get behind the ABBA pick there, but maybe the Eurovision Song Contest, maybe not so much. Like, that's maybe a little bit too cheesy for me.
And also because I got told, no, we were asked this before and I got told off, so I have to say Derek Ryan, the Nashville Songbook.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
We were asked this before.
Not getting
you kind of forget now. I probably said different albums.
Yeah, I think we were asked that on our first podcast. Like we did like an introduction episode when we first started this.
So long ago.
Actually, it'd be really interesting to go back and think what it is. I don't know. Although, you see, it's really hard because there's loads. Like I have songs that albums I listen to all the time, but then like recent albums like Morgan Wallen and things like that, they're so incredible, and you just, I don't know. I'm like stressed out by my answers now that I've answered it wrong.
Well, but I have one more question for you, Ben, before we say goodbye. But do you have any ghost stories for us?
I do, but I don't know if I want to tell it. Right. Okay. Right. This is exclusive, worldwide exclusive.
Okay. Good stuff.
Growing up years and years and years ago, I was absolutely terrified of Michael Jackson.
Really?
Literally terrified of him.
Right.
Like when I was very young, I think I was maybe 3 or 4 by the time he was going through like the second court case in America.
Right.
I think it was 2005, I think it was. So maybe a wee bit older. No, 2003 it was.
You just remind us how old we are, Ben, when you start saying how old you are in like 2005. And I think, oh my God, I think I bought my second house by 2005. I know, talking for myself, I'm the oldest in the room.
Yeah, right?
I think I get that.
Don't. Sorry, carry on.
I was terrified of him there, and no, sorry, but I think when I was very young, I seen a picture of him not looking his best, like really frail, really like just he was half a man that he was, like, and that has always stuck with me even now. Like that one certain picture, I still can't look at it without thinking, Jesus, like properly terrified. And the night he died, actually, it was such a coincidence, and people are going to laugh at me thinking, what sort of BS is he talking like? But the night he died, I was doing a show because I used to be part of like a stage school and stuff like that. I remember it was 25th of June 2009 was the day he died. Like don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of Michael Jackson. If you ask me who the greatest musical artist of all time is, I say him every single day of the week. Loved his music, terrified of him. But came home that night, whatever, and it was after the show that we were doing, just heard on the radio, Michael Jackson's taken the hospital, Michael Jackson's after dying, stuff like that. And that came home, no problem. Didn't really affect me or whatever. Like, obviously I was like, Jesus, he's gone now, and came home, and I always used to sleep with my door closed, always, because, no reason to keep it open. Like, not that I was just scared of the dark or anything like that, Now I am 4 or 5 at this stage, like maybe, what was it, yeah, so maybe 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And that was fine. So it's funny, like I kind of had it in my head, oh well, he's dead now, so he can be watching me now or something, like, you know what I mean? Silly, like he's a ghost now, that kind of way. And I didn't really sleep that night because I was just scared, like genuinely scared, like a child is. And I had only started playing the guitar at that stage, and all of a sudden my guitar fell, and I mean it froze me with fear. Like, I mean, absolutely frozen. And it was the night he died, like, and everyone's gonna laugh, thinking, oh, Michael Jackson's in the room dropping your guitar. What are you talking about? But it absolutely terrified me, and ever since I sleep with the door open. Ever since.
Wow.
Yeah. And like there's no lights on or whatever, but just in case something falls, I have a quick escape, like, but it's just subconscious now, like, but that'd be my kind of ghost story. But yeah, I don't know why I told that. I'm going to be rinsed now. Like.
So to just confirm with that you're saying that the night that Michael Jackson died, the first thing he wanted to do was to go to Ben Troy's house
and drop his guitar. Yeah. And it was in the stand, like it was in its stand. and next thing it just falls over. I'm like, that's just not right. Like, so I don't know, possibly, maybe I do have a maybe I do have a paranormal experience with Michael Jackson with the King of Pop, like, you know.
Well, we've heard all sorts already. Like, we've asked Gary Gamble, and he's had a possessed house, and we've talked to a few other people who have Tina Depart and tell her about her haunted wig. So we've heard all sorts already with that question. The simple question.
Yeah, let's have that
conversation going.
Totally.
But yeah, that's my Copper's Corner done for this episode, I suppose. Do you have any more questions, Joe, before we wrap up?
I think, yeah. So your most recent single, is it Roller Coaster, I think?
Yeah.
And where can people catch that and you on your socials?
Yeah, well, Roller Coaster is available on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, all them kind of platforms. It's on YouTube, it's on Facebook. You can definitely, if you just search Ben Troy Roller Coaster, it'll come up. We released that last June. So it's been a while. Like, obviously, I can't get down to wherever I record, like, because you're not meant to leave your 5K. I think it's a silly rule anyway. Like, but like I said before, that's definitely going to be the first things that I'm going to do once everything is lifted. Yeah. But we do have new music on the way. Hopefully in the next 6 weeks to a couple of months, and definitely before summer. It's on the way. The way. But you can catch me on Spotify, Instagram. It's at Ben Troy Music. Twitter at Ben Troy Music. Facebook the same. Snapchat is Ben Troy 12. And anything, like, anything at all.
Brilliant. Well, you've been an amazing guest, and I'm sure everyone at home will agree that it's really, really good to see you even in these strange times, and we can't wait to see you back out on the road.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you having me on. Like I said before, it's the first time I've done something like this, and I've actually really enjoyed it. So Brilliant. Thank you very much for that.
It was great having you on.
Thank you,
good crack. Definitely we'll get you back on, hopefully in the future. And
Brilliant.
All the very best of luck to you now, and when things start opening up and getting a few gigs going again.
We'll have a pint. We'll have a drink.
Yes, we will. We'll have an old session.
Yeah, definitely. We'll do a bit of karaoke.
That's it, yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Ben.
Thank you.
We're back from the interview with Ben Troy. That was good crack. I really enjoyed that. He's a good lad. Really enjoyed meeting him. And what did you think of the interview yourself?
Yeah, it was really, really good. As I said before, it was, lots that we could find out about him, lots of different stories that he had to tell. And he's just a really nice lad, isn't he? Just very down to earth, very normal and easy to talk to. Yeah.
Yeah. We're having the right cracks while we were. And we definitely get him on again in the future, no doubt.
Definitely. And I'll probably do a little self plug as well here as well, that he's actually coming over, any of our UK followers, he's actually coming over to the UK, and he's doing a gig with myself at the Reading Irish Centre on the 3rd of July. So if anybody's interested in that, please do contact me, and I'll send you info on how to get tickets and everything. So
brilliant.
Nice for me to do a plug and not you.
Yeah. Tell people where they can actually hear you or get in contact with you. Will you get that bit out of the way early?
Yeah, so if you just contact me through Facebook, Instagram or TikTok, I'm at Welcome to Jodie Land, and on Twitter at Welcome to Jodie. I don't really use Twitter, but if you send me a message, I do still get a notification, so you can still get it through there. Yeah,
I do as well. Yeah. We'll do the rest of the social after anyway. We'll get back to that. But we'll move on to our track of the week. Is that what we called it, wasn't it? I'm awful for names.
You've got it. Just remember that. I'm going to get you a sign made.
We'll do I'll get a little jingle going and a logo up on the screen, all this kind of stuff now eventually. But yeah, the track of the week. So last week, what did you suggest that we listen to, Joe?
So I suggested Chris Young and Kane Brown, Famous Friends. I nearly did what you did there and said the wrong Chris. I said Chris Brown. I was thinking in my head.
Oh, no.
But yeah, Famous Friends. What did you think of it?
I actually, I saw the title. I hadn't heard any of these guys before. I hadn't heard the song before. I saw the title. I was like firmly expecting to roll my eyes back to the back of my head and think, oh, these guys are just going to start name dropping all their famous singer friends and always hanging out with such and such, and Luke Bryan's there and blah, blah, blah. But no, it was actually very good. It completely turned the thing on its head. And he was more talking about his friends back in his small town of wherever it was. I can't remember exactly where it was. But he's talking about how the sheriff was a famous friend, and the school teacher, and the guy at the party was always the life of the party. This kind of stuff, and they're famous to him because he knew them at home, and the fact that he was in this big city of Nashville or wherever he was, and he doesn't know anyone, but he knew everyone at home, and they're famous to him. So I wasn't expecting that, and I actually really enjoyed the song.
Yeah, it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, it has a kind of a country rock kind of a sound to it. A nice little started guitar in the back. I like that. But yeah, I really like the sound of it. I definitely will add that to my own playlist or whatever, and listen to it a good bit more. Chris Young, I hadn't heard of him before, so I'm definitely going to look into.
Had you heard of Kane Brown before?
I've heard of him. I haven't listened to his stuff. I'm aware of him. That's about it.
I think Kane Brown and actually that song Famous Friends was nominated. Obviously, it was the Country Music Awards last week, sorry. Yeah. And I think Famous Friends was nominated as Best Song, and I don't think it won, but another one of Kane Brown's songs won Best Song, and I think Kane Brown won Best Singer. Yeah. Country singer, I think. Oh. Yeah.
Well, I suppose I may look into him more then as well.
There we go.
Yeah, that was a good suggestion. Very good suggestion. I was just looking at the numbers on Spotify. It's like 26 million plays or something. Jeannie Mac, these guys have a right anyway.
They have a following.
Yeah, fair play to them. But yeah, I suggested to you was Devon Cable and the Rangers, and it was Odessa Skies. It was a Texas band. What did you think of it, Joe?
Yeah, it had quite an 80s feel to it. Kind of, I don't know. I just felt like it would be in some sort of like weird 80s club bar and things. Yeah. I quite liked it actually. It is, again, not something I'd heard of before. Not something I probably would have reached for. But yeah, it was a very you song.
Very me song.
It was a very you song. Literally when you suggest things, I get sort of like a couple of notes in. I'm like, yep, that's a him song. But I enjoyed it. I wouldn't delete it off my playlist. I'd probably just keep it, if it's on shuffle or something like that.
Yeah.
But no, it was good to see something different. Listen to something different.
It's definitely the kind of song that grows on it. The more I listened to it as well, I actually got kind of more hooked on it. I started singing the chorus to myself, and I think that's a common thing with songs anyway. Sometimes it does take a few listens of songs in general just to kind of. I remember,
see, we're different like that. I like the song; it has to grab me straight away. Otherwise, I kind of get a bit bored with it.
Because remember, like back in the days of buying CDs, remember those days, and you only had like a €20, and you went to the CD shop on a weekend, and you had like one CD that you could buy because that's all you had. You had €20 or £20 or whatever it was back in the day, and you bought that CD and you came home and you listened to it, and even if you didn't like it, you listen to it again to make sure you didn't like it. But then eventually you will start liking it and stuff. So then you kind of, you're getting I suppose you're making sure you get your value for your money.
Yeah, exactly.
But I suppose in today's world, it's a lot less. It's a lot less like that. You can just like click on a song for 15 seconds, like don't like that, and skip on because it doesn't mean as much to you. But I definitely like to take the time and re-listen to stuff as well. But that's a whole other topic for another day. But Joe, what song do you suggest that we listen to this week?
So the song that I've suggested for you, I literally decided 5 minutes ago this was going to be your song, and it's actually one of my favourite ever country songs. So you better like it. And I chose it because you've just listened to one of those. It's actually Chris Young's, and the song is called Tomorrow.
Okay.
And I think you'll be quite surprised because it's very different to Famous Friends is very sort of Kane Brown's vibe. But the song Tomorrow, as I say, it's one of my favourite ever country songs. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. And it's been covered a few times by different people, but nobody quite sings it like Chris Young does.
Okay. And is it a Chris Young song or is it
he wrote it. He wrote it.
Cool. All right. I'm going ultra classic with my suggestion.
Okay.
Everyone probably knows this song. But I've been it's been my jam this last weekend. It's Buck Owens. Buck Owens, as I've got a tiger by the tail. It's just
okay.
Do you know the song?
I do.
You do? Okay.
I will listen to it again. I haven't listened to it in a long, long time. But obviously, I know Buck Owens. Was it last year Buck Owens died? Have I got that completely wrong?
Probably
got that completely wrong.
I'm not sure. I have to check that, to be honest with you. We'll check. We'll check that for next time.
Yes.
Just make sure we have that right.
Yes, we'll fact check things.
Fact check things. Yeah, but he's an absolute legend. So definitely, I've been jamming on it this weekend, and just my number one song this weekend. So I just want to get out there and people listen to it. I know it's an old classic, and but yeah, and that's I suppose we talk about our socials. You did already. So where can they actually contact us as the podcast? Where can they tell us our ghost stories and such?
Oh.
Yes.
Which is where you were going with that. So we are on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Folkin Around Podcast. We are on Twitter at Folkin Around Pod. We also can be emailed with the ghost stories, as Coffer says, or any other comments, questions, things like that. And that is folkinaroundpodcast@gmail.com.
Brilliant.
And where can people catch you, Copper?
Yeah, you can get me on the usual places, usual suspects of social medias. It's Facebook and all that crack. But you can look up Copper Kelly Music, and also have a website, copperkelly.com, and you can find all my links to everything there as well. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Spotify, I'm on Apple Music, all those general places. And generally ask, where do you find you? But you've already said it, so we're going to skip on. But that ends the episode this week. Do you have anything more to add before we round her out?
As always, just thank you for listening this far. If you've put up with us till now, always grateful.
Absolute legend you are if you're listening this far. Fair play to you. And if you are listening this far, you must like the show, I suppose, in some way. But if you want to help us out, share, tell your friends about us. Tell your friends, there's this country music podcast where two idiots are talking crap for an hour, and people might like it. So share to people that you think might like it. And if you want to help support the show as well, you can go to buymeacoffee.com /Folkin Around Podcast, and we're going to get a membership up and running and get some bonus material and things like that. We'll let you know as that goes what's involved. So that rounds up our episode, and as always, bye, folkers.
Bye.